are just 48 hours away from A-Rod Day. And I got to hand it to Sean. He's pulling out all the stops. This studio is going to be dressed up. I saw this big banner that's being prepared. There are T-shirts. I mean, my God.
The town's buzzing.
The town is buzzing. We are 2 days away from A-Rod Day. We look forward to that, but I come to you in a melancholy mood on this fine Wednesday afternoon, on this Valentine's Day.
Why melancholy?
Because I happened to see about 10 seconds of the Kansas City Chiefs parade. And
why did that depress you?
I'll tell you why. And I wasn't rooting against the Chiefs. I was rooting for the Chiefs. It has nothing to do with the Chiefs. I saw the parade, and I remembered being at one. I remembered 4,390 days ago being at the last major championship won in this town. And I want to clarify the four major sports with the major teams that have a history. No offense to NYCFC, no offense to the Liberty. But 4,390 days ago, I, like many others, was at a parade. It wasn't for my own team. It was for your football team.
Yep.
It was for Sean's football team. It was the New York Giants on February 7th, 2012. It has been a long-ass time. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have that uncomfortable conversation. As Bill Goldberg would say, who's next? Who is going to be that team to bring us our very next parade? Is it going to be the New York Rangers? Is it going to be my New York Jets? Is it going to be the New York Knicks? Who the hell is it? We will talk to you about it, but I'd like to start the honors. Can I start the honors?
Go ahead.
The team that will win the next championship in this town, it's a very simple answer. I want you all to play a game with me, whether you are my age at the age of 40, whether you're a little bit younger. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to picture the parade. I want you to imagine that afternoon with the sun shining and a million people being in the streets of New York City. When you close your eyes, can you imagine orange and blue for the Knicks or the Mets? No, you can't.
Stop.
When you close your eyes, can you imagine green and white for the New York Jets? No, you can't. If you close your eyes, can you imagine the Giants? Sort of, but then you realize Daniel Jones is your quarterback, and you know that ain't happening. So, folks, there's only one right answer, and it pains me to say it, and that answer is your New York Yankees. Look,
just because you can see it doesn't mean that's the one that's closest to winning the championship.
A big part of it, T.
I mean, look, seeing it is because it's in your recent memory. Like, if that was the case, then, like what you're espousing here, then the Jets would never win a championship.
Correct, Tiki.
Because you and no Jet, I mean, I guess the older Jet fans have seen this, but most Jet fans under, 50-something, have never seen them.
Yes.
And so how can they visualize it? The uniforms look different. Television was like fuzzy at that point.
Yes.
It wasn't Technicolor. The green didn't look like the green that you see on the little dolls that you have here on your desk. So, of course you can't visualize it. But I'm surprised and shocked that with the whole Aaron Rodgers hype and the great defense and everything else that you talk about, the prediction of the offseason for this New York Jets team, that you're not saying it's the Jets.
It's not the Jets.
I mean,
the Jets.
Like, to me, the one that jumps like immediately to the top of my head.
Wait, so before you give your answer, you're saying you do not think it's the New York Yankees?
I mean, it could
You're disagreeing with me. That's fine.
I think there are teams in the way of the Yankees.
Well, there's teams in everybody's way.
Because we're not just talking about winning, a conference and going to their respective championships or the NBA Finals or the Super Bowl or the World Series. We're talking about winning the whole thing.
That is correct. Yes.
Right? I think about the Yankees and all. So the Astros jump to mind. The Baltimore Orioles, who are now nouveau rich with a new owner, they jump to mind. Who knows what they're going to end up doing over the next couple of years? The L.A. Dodgers. You got to get through the Dodgers who just spent $1 billion+ on two guys to get better. And they're probably not done over the next couple of years. So when you say the Yankees, I think luck has to happen for the Yankees to get there.
Well, if it's not the Yankees, who then is it?
To me, the only one that jumped to the top of my mind was the Knicks.
Let's go Knicks.
I'm being serious. Because hold on, you got to hear me out, dude. Stop laughing. Stop it. What was the hyena in the Lion King? Right, the Knicks. Think about the sport. In the NFL, you have the greatest quarterback in the world. You don't have a good offensive line. Guess what? You're not winning. Right? Or your defense is porous. You're not winning. And in baseball, all you got to do is not have a good closer or a good bullpen. You have the best starting rotation in baseball. You get through 6 innings, you're screwed. So it's hard. You got to hit in a timely manner when it matters. In basketball, if you have a star, like a superstar, and I'm not saying the Knicks have one yet.
Well, you kind of are because you're saying they're going to win a title.
I'm not saying they're winning it this year. In Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle and now the big ragu, Dante DiVincenzo, you have like a core. And if you, for whatever in some way, found a star, like a superstar, whether that's a draft pick or that's a trade or whatever it is, in basketball, you can go win like now. And so to me, the Knicks, who incidentally have the 6th shortest odds this season. Yeah. This year. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
This year.
Yeah, this season.
If they in some capacity find that star that puts them over the top, they could win. I'm not saying this year, but I see it happening quicker than the New York Yankees.
Wow. I got to tell you, when I thought about this long and hard this morning, and I said,
Ed was the hyena from the Lion King.
Yeah,
that's what you sounded like.
Well, you said something funny. What do you want to do?
Funny.
I'm going to not
I'm
laugh.
being realistic. That was my gut. That was my gut reaction.
When I thought about this, and I wanted to give an honest answer, and I wanted to exclude my fandom because I think my fandom hurts me. You know, being a Jet fan and being a Met fan makes me probably more negative, if we're being perfectly honest. Like, it makes it more difficult for me to picture everything working out for the Jets and them being the team to break this snide. But really, my debate came down to 2 teams, and the Knicks weren't one of them. It was the other team at Madison Square Garden that you guys show no respect to. And that's the New York Rangers. Yeah. Who, by the way, see, there are a few factors here.
That would be an uninformed pick for me.
That's okay.
I need Sean to give me insights on that.
Well, Sean's a Ranger fan, and
New York Ranger fan.
And I respect that. And I'm going to give you my thinking behind my Yankee-Ranger debate. And we'll get Sean's answer, too, and we'll talk to you as well, 877-337-6666. You know what matters to me? Have you done it before? That's what matters to me. That's a part of it. Like, when I say I close my eyes and I picture it, a part of it is the franchise. A part of it is, have I seen it in my lifetime? I've seen the Yankees do it many, many times in my lifetime. I've seen them do it with a couple of different incarnations, really, too, because I think that 09 team was different than the one that did it in 96, 98, 99, 2000. But do you have anybody in that building who's done it? Now, the New York Yankees have a general manager that's done it, as much as you guys all seem to hate him.
First baseman.
You've got a first baseman that's done it. You've got some guys that have done it. The New York Rangers added a head coach that's done it. They have a head coach now in Peter Laviolette who's done it. And by the way, that matters. And that's where I said, well, you know what? They are leading their division. They have had the playoff tests over the last couple of years. They're a growing team. So I thought about the Rangers, and I admit that. They're in this conversation, Ranger fans. You are in it. To me, as an independent observer, because all my teams suck and will never win anything, that was the fight that I had.
Yeah.
But the New York Yankees are a franchise and an organization that all of us, I don't care how young you are right now, you've seen it. You've pictured it. It happens. Yankee droughts don't exist. Ranger droughts exist. Knick droughts exist. Every other team we watch in this town have droughts, and they damn well exist. The Yankees don't. So while I'm not sitting here telling you it's going to happen this year, if you put that proverbial gun to my head, what organization do I trust the most? What organization do I look at and say, they'll get it done? You're damn right it's the New York Yankees. For you to wrap your legs around the New York Knicks is comical at best.
Well, it's only because the Knicks, it's because of the sport that they're in.
Yeah, but it's more difficult to win a title in that sport.
I know, but if you get a superstar, like a legit superstar.
Do they have one?
No, they don't.
So if you don't even think they have one, then how can you argue it?
Okay, so are the Yankees winning a championship this year?
They have an absolute opportunity to, yes.
Are they getting through the Orioles, who they didn't last year?
They could,
are they getting through?
They were pretty good.
Are they getting through the Astros?
I give them a chance. Yeah.
Are they beating the LA Dodgers? Do
you want me to play that game with the Knicks? Are they beating the Boston Celtics?
Yes,
Are they beating
they could.
the Denver Nuggets?
Yes, they could.
Oh, and the Yankees can't beat the Astros? The Yankees can't beat the Orioles? Of course they can.
You talk about the image of them winning a championship because they've most recently done it, and it's visible in your mind. However many days ago you said it was
4,390 days ago was the Giants. So you got to add a little bit more for the Yankees.
I also remember these last few championship series that they've been in, and the last one was horrendous. Terrible.
Think about what you just said, though. Think about what you just said. You're thinking about the last few LCSs and playoffs they were in. To win a championship, you've got to get there. They've at least shown you they can. When's the last time the Knicks competed in an Eastern Conference Finals?
But I think you're missing my point. In basketball, when you find a superstar, and I'm not saying the Knicks have one right now. I love Jalen Brunson. I think most Knicks fans do. But they have all of these assets, and we know what they're saving them for. They're saving them for that one discontent superstar who they can pry away with 5 first-round draft picks or whatever the heck the compensation is going to be, and bring him to the Knicks, and that puts them over the top, especially if you get to hold on to all these other pieces that have developed into very reliable and solid parts, despite them being injured right now.
But hold on. Your plan is...
And I think that's happening sooner rather than later, by the way.
You may be right, but think about this. Your plan is about the Knicks doing something to get to that level.
Yeah.
And my answer is the Yankees can do it right now. The Yankees are a championship contender going into 2024.
So you don't think that the Knicks, we have to assume health, right? We have to say all these guys are
I'll
healthy.
do that with the Yankees too if you want, sure.
Well, of course you do, because if the Yankees are hurt, we know what happens. They win, they barely get to 500, and we celebrate having a non-losing season. But the Knicks, assuming health, They can beat these teams in the East.
No, I disagree. I don't think they're better than the Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics lost to the Lakers.
What does that mean?
500.
What? So the Knicks lost to the Rockets the other night. What the hell does that mean?
But nobody was playing.
Well, so now we're going to quantify these regular season games?
Absolutely.
I've seen the Yankees get to an LCS and lose to a borderline dynastic team. The Knicks haven't done it yet. And your whole point is they're going to get a star. The Yankees could win the World Series this year. They've got 2 of the best players in baseball. They got one of the best pitchers in baseball.
You believe that?
I think they are in the short list of teams that can win the World Series.
The only way your argument makes sense to me is if the Yankees are winning a World Series this season. This year.
Because Juan Soto's gone next year? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, partly. But
he may be.
The roster looks different a year from now.
The Yankees.
Garrett Cole is a year older a year from now.
But here's the difference, though. You're right about Aaron Judge is in his prime. Garrett Cole's in his prime. I've said this before. You don't know how long that's going to last. I give you that. Juan Soto's a free agent. He may be on another team next year. I don't disagree with that. But the Yankees have shown, even in this drought that they're in, and they're in a championship drought, that they're good just about every single year. And in baseball, unlike the NBA, if you get to the playoffs and get hot at the right time, even a mediocre team like the Diamondbacks can get to the World Series. So if I'm putting my money on any team to get hot at the right time, first of all, the Knicks aren't even in my discussion. To me, I was debating the Yankees and the Rangers. And I tried to talk myself into the Jets, and I tried to talk myself into the Mets. The problem with the Mets is I have to wait. I need everyone to not win for a year or two. And I don't want to play that game. You're playing that game because your assumption is the Knicks won't win this year, but they could win next year.
Yes.
Well, I got a better shot. I got a better shot to be right if my team wins this year. If the team I'm saying wins now, then you don't even get a crack. Like if the Yankees win the World Series this year, then the Jets and Giants don't even have a crack to be right because they didn't even get to finish their season.
Well, I mean, the Jets obviously have to go through a really tough AFC.
They do.
And the dynasty that is the Kansas City Chiefs.
The New York Jets suck.
Chance to get to a championship. The Giants are 32 players away, so I'm not even talking about them. The Rangers, again, honestly, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head whether or not how they stack up against the rest of NHL. But in basketball, this is less about who the Knicks have to beat. It's who they are going to acquire in the very short term. At least that's what I think a lot of Knicks fans think and hope.
You know, you're very convenient. It's not about who the Knicks can't beat, but it is about who the Yankees can't beat. It's about how they can't beat the Astros.
Because the Yankees, because what we're talking about with the Yankees is immediate. It's right now.
Yes.
In order for you to be right, I think the Yankees got to win right now.
Can they win the World Series this year?
I don't know.
Of course they can. They can. It doesn't mean I think they are. It doesn't mean every Yankee fan is peacocking around this city. But of course they have a chance. They're on the short list.
So much has to happen for them to win the World Series this year.
Well, so much has to happen for the Knicks to win the title that you just laid out.
Not a ton.
They got to get another star, you basically said.
Yes, and they have all of the assets to do so. Do they not? Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but you're wrong, if that makes any sense.
No.
All right, Sean, what team?
It's definitely the Rangers. It's 30 years since 1994, a year, by the way, the team on ice finished things off. Number 2, right now they have the 5th biggest odds, if you care about that. And they've come out of this All-Star break where everybody was questioning the goalie, scorching hot, and Shesterkin threw a shutout the other night, and the assets and the cap space to make big trades at their trade deadline, which is insanely long down the stretch. By the way, newsflash, it's a good thing. I don't necessarily agree with you on the Knicks. There's a chance we see 3 parades before the next football parade happens. We're actually in the mix in all of these sports.
The Rangers and the Yankees have an advantage over the Knicks, and it's the sport that they play.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is the New York Rangers are proving year in and year out they're going to be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Now, last year, it ended very, very early, unfortunately for them, even though some Ranger fans thought that they were advancing immediately after they took that early series lead against New Jersey. But they were there.
Some did.
They were there, and it flamed out too early. A year before that, they went on a run that I don't think a lot of us expected, getting all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals where they had a lead in Game 3 up 2-0. They were on the doorstep of getting to a Stanley Cup final. The NHL is the kind of sport where if you're in the playoffs, something the Devils and Islanders are just fighting to get there.
Yeah.
If you're in the playoffs, you have as good a chance as anybody to get hot at the right time and go on a run. Baseball's kind of the same way. Unfortunately, that's the way baseball is now, where if you can make the playoffs, you give yourself that opportunity to get hot at the right time.
But the divider for me, like you talked about experience, Rangers coach and several Rangers players have done it, have won the Stanley Cup, where I'm very scared off by the Yankees.
I understand. The negative towards an NBA team is that that's not how the sport works. You don't get hot and win championships. Now, Miami proved you can get hot and get to an NBA Finals. I'll give them that if you want to go down that argument. But for the most part, that's not how you win a title in the NBA. But in Major League Baseball and the NHL, and this is why the Yankees and the Rangers were my debate. That was what I was fighting myself with. 2 teams I don't even like, by the way. It's not like I'm arguing among teams I love. 2 teams I don't even like. The argument was both these teams can win this season. Both these teams can win this season, and it ain't that crazy. And that's the built-in advantage those 2 teams have over a team like the Knicks and even a team like the Jets, because I don't think the NFL's like that anymore. For a long time, the NFL felt like, you know what, just make the playoffs and get hot. And you know what the proof of that is? Hate to be disrespectful, the New York Giants.
Yeah.
You guys were proof of that in 2007 and 2011 where you weren't that good, you got hot at the right time, and guess what? You win Super Bowls, can't take anything away from you. Look at these last few Super Bowls.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case anymore.
It's over.
You get waxed by the better teams.
No doubt.
And especially because the better teams are outliers every single year, it feels like. The Ravens this year and the Kansas City Chiefs, they're just outliers. They're better than the average. And eventually those teams are going to win. It's like the Giants in the playoffs a year ago. Yeah, it was great to beat the Minnesota Vikings, who were your peer tier type of squad. But you go against the Philadelphia Eagles, who were deep on both sides of the ball last season, 2 seasons ago, and they just waxed you every single time you played them. So I agree with you. The hot team doesn't work in football
And
anymore.
look, here's the other problem. For any of my fellow Jet fans who say, come on, you guys have barely spent any time on our Jets, Aaron Rodgers, world-class defense, why not us? Instead of just assaulting Robert Saleh for 5 minutes, I'll tell you the thing that stands in our way, and it's daunting, and it's on TV today. It's Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And in the NFL, unlike Major League Baseball, and unlike the NHL, where you never know, get hot at the right time, let's go. I can't say that in football. I can't say it at all.
Yeah.
So I wish.
Football didn't cross my mind.
That's because you hate the Jets, though.
No, I don't. I love the Jets.
You don't love
Or I love Nate Hackett.
All right. We'll get to your calls next. Who is it? Who is that team that's closest to a championship? Who is that team that's going to be the next team to give us a parade we haven't seen in this city from any of our 4 major sports franchises, 4 major sports, and the franchises that play that sport in 4,390 days? Who is it? I go with the chalk. I think it's the Yankees. Tiki's high right now. He thinks it's the Knicks. Sean's a big puck guy. He thinks it's the Rangers. 877-337-6666.